Hello and a warm welcome. You've joined us on a brand new edition of Budget Bulletin. I'm Ashesha Advaryu and today we put the spotlight on India's textile sector. Now, the ongoing political unrest in Bangladesh has prompted retailers to explore alternatives, including India for garment imports and exports. Generating employment on a large scale, the textile industry now looks towards the budget for demand boosters. On the show today, we will try to take stock of what's in store for the sector and a deep dive into India's textile sector with R.K. Vij, President Emeritus of Textile Association of India, is also coming up on the show in just a bit, so stay tuned. But first up, an ET Now exclusive where the upcoming union budget is likely to prioritize textile sector with an increase in the PLI scheme's allocation, which is expected to come in. The government wants to capitalize on the opportunities from the Bangladesh unrest. Samir Dikshit, my colleague, filed this report earlier. Listen in.
The government is likely to have a big focus on the textile sector in the upcoming union budget. Sources have indicated that the upcoming budget may announce a higher budgetary allocation for the textile sector. In addition to this, the ongoing PLI scheme for the textile sector, the tenure is likely to be increased, and not just the tenure, but also the budgetary allocation for the PLI scheme is likely to get a boost. In addition to this, the government is also looking to rationalize the tariff imposed on various types of yarns, and also looking to reduce the import tariff on machinery for the manufacturing of textile. So when it comes to the budgetary allocation for FY 24-25, the budgetary allocation for textile sector was for around rupees 4,200 crore. But for FY 25-26, the budgetary allocation is likely to be increased by around 15 to 20%, and this may be to the tune of rupees 5,200 crore. In addition to this, the PLI scheme, the man-made fiber PLI scheme, is likely to get a tenure extension, and the budgetary allocation is also likely to get increased to up to 600 million rupee. Government is also looking to reduce tariff on various type of yarns, for example, on fiber or other yarns which are being imported by the textile industry for the manufacturing of textile, and even the reduction in the import of the tariff cut on machinery for the textile industry. Government understands that the ongoing opportunities rising because of the unrest in neighborhood in Bangladesh, it provides bright opportunity for domestic textile industry. This support through the PLI scheme by giving higher budgetary allocation or even by tariff reduction will not just give a further strength to the domestic industry, but this will also help to address the issue of employment. So these are a couple of interesting announcements that we may see related to the textile sector in the upcoming union budget.
To discuss this in further detail and to understand what Textile Association's expectations are from Budget 2025, we now have Mr. R.K. Vij, President Emeritus of the Textile Association and Secretary General of Polyester Textile Apparel Industry, now joining us. Mr. Vij, thank you so much for taking your time out. And we just heard Samir talk about increase in budgetary allocation to the textile sector. In fact, sources are telling us that allocation could increase by as much as 15 to 20%. You tell us, what are your expectations and what is the industry asking for?
Thank you for calling me on the right time, because as was said that there is a disruption in the Bangladesh, and the people are expecting that the major market to procure the raw material and to the end product and garment and other things is India, Sri Lanka, Vietnam and Cambodia. And this is the very right time that all are, because the stability in India is, our political stability is there. So everybody is looking after. As on today, all our machines, garment machines, the weaving machines are working full from the last 4 months, and our export is also increasing. But this is the very right time when we should increase our manufacturing capability. We don't have the big capability facilities in India. So this PLI scheme enhancements of this budget will very much help us to put the more machinery, to import machinery, to increase our production, then our export will increase. This is the very right time. So I think government has taken a very right view to enhance this budget under the PLI scheme. So our Textile Minister and Commerce Minister Girirajji and Piyush Goyalji are very much after how to increase the textile production and export domestic consumption in India so that to increase the more labor to give more employment, ma'am.
Since you spoke about PLI
Another
scheme
thing,
also, yes, go ahead, sir, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to say that PLI 1 came about 1.5 years before, and a lot of industries had applied. But at that time, that PLI scheme, some of the shortcomings were there. Now we are telling to the government that another PLI 2 scheme should come for the small manufacturers, where earlier the scheme was for 100 crore investment and 300 crore investment. For 100 crore, they have to give a turnover of 200 crore. For 300 crore, they have to give for 600 crore. And another thing, suppose on a one machine or with one raw material, if I can make 5 or 6 products, then under the PLI scheme, all these 6 products should be included. So I just give you an example in the PLI 1 scheme. If on one machine, where my raw material is same fabric is there, where I can manufacture men trousers and men t-shirts on the same raw material and same machine, then under the PLI scheme, they
Understood.
included men trouser, but not included the men t-shirt. Same way, woman blazer, we can produce under PLI, but men blazer we cannot produce.
Understood.
Men's. So these are the things were there. So I think government will now take care, and this is the very right time. We should not lose the opportunity of disturbance in Bangladesh.
Understood. So you are expecting some changes when it comes to PLI scheme, and perhaps for smaller and medium-sized enterprises, we are expecting some PLI scheme to come in. But as far as import taxes are concerned on key raw material fabric, it is as high as 11 to 27%. Do you expect any tweaks over there?
Ma'am, if we have to increase textile in India, we have 3 raw material. One is cotton, another is viscose, and third is PTA MEG. From PTA MEG, we can make polyester, cotton to cotton, viscose to viscose. The one thing is there, if we have to increase the textile industry in India, all the raw material should be, basic raw material should be available and at international prices. For government sector, fabric should be available at the international prices. For fabric, yarn should be available at international prices. For yarn, PTA, MEG, cotton, viscose should be available at international prices. And as on today, if you see, the custom duty rationalization is very much required. We should restrict import of fabric, finished fabric coming into India. As I had given the data to the government, that daily use 700, 800 ton of fabric, means about 50,000 meter to 1 lakh meter, 1 crore meter fabric is daily coming into India. So that government is taking care of. So rationalization of duty is very much required to stop the import and to increase the export, and to make the availability of the raw material for bottom downline products should be available.
Of the duty is the need of the hour. That's the word coming in. Mr. Vij, thank you so much for taking your time out, helping us understand what the ask of the industry is from Budget 2025. With that, it's a wrap. But before we wind down on this edition of the show, here's a word from Lupin Senior Vice President and Global Tax Head Mohan Nasetti on what he expects from the upcoming budget. Listen in.
From a healthcare and life science industry's perspective, I have 3 key recommendations or expectations from the Finance Budget 2025. The first one is in terms of increased healthcare spending. To achieve the country's Viksit Bharat aspirations by 2047, it is important that we have a much more healthier and a more productive population. It is expected that the budget would move up the needle in terms of spending on healthcare from the present 1.9% of GDP to at least 2.5% of GDP. This would in turn translate to better infrastructure and improved access to quality healthcare, particularly in underserved areas. The second expectation is in terms of incentivizing innovation and R&D. India has a marked advantage in terms of having a strong intellectual pool of resources, who contribute significantly in pharmaceutical R&D processes. However, the R&D process itself is very long and very expensive. So extending additional tax deductions for R&D expenditure would go a long way in achieving the aspiration of reaching a $130 billion market by 2030. By providing additional tax deductions for R&D, the government would actually encourage companies to innovate, to invest in new and innovative solutions, which would in turn drive growth and competitiveness in the industry. Also, additional tax deduction should be considered for training and skill development, ensuring that the workforce is equipped with the necessary skills to support the industry's growth. The third expectation is in terms of incentivizing domestic manufacturing. The production-linked incentive, or the PLI scheme for pharmaceutical products, has successfully boosted manufacturing and enhanced export competitiveness. However, the scheme should be made more flexible to cover a larger skew of products, which would in turn drive economic growth and create more job opportunities.